Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radha. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radha. Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Sri Radha. Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Sri Radha. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivarajaka Astotra Satat Systema of the Divine Grace System Panchaya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jaya Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivarajaka Astotra Satat Systema of the Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jaya Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jaya Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kahao Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhara Si Prasadi Se Gaura Bhakta Ki Jai. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Mayapanavati Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vina Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Our glory is to the sum of the devotees. Our glory is to some of the devotees. Our glory is to some of the devotees. Our glory is all glories to Sister Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'd like to thank everyone for coming, sparing the time to come to participate in the Sunday program here. It's the capital of the whole world, so Washington DC, the capital of the whole world. People outside there, they're hearing about Washington DC. Not only is this very capital of the whole world progressive in economic, social, and professional development, but there's a huge progress also in spiritual development. I left for India when this temple was not started. So came back to see this temple is like, a huge, a huge development, big, really big one. So I thank the management and all the devotees who have been able to participate, to come together to form a cohesive force to enable this positive spiritual change. Construction of projects like this is always very, very difficult. So, by the Minister of Prabhupada, the acharyas, and our presiding deities here, this project has come up very nicely, and this is a very great landmark for ISKCON North America. So our topic today is about how to balance our sadhana with our professional development, and of course our family life. Majority of the devotees are having families. They have families now, and some may have families in the future. Majority will have families in the future, for those who don't even have now. And therefore, to understand the nitty-gritty of how to deal with this very challenging problem. It's a big challenge, to manage. It's like doing 3 jobs. You have to do your sadhana, and then you have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your job. It's like, someone who married like 3 wives. Very difficult. There's a tendency that, you tilt on one side and not really remembering to navigate in all other areas. Yeah, it's so tempting. So today we'll share some things. We'll also invoke some, or elicit some ideas from some of you who are experiencing this, or how you are able to become successful. But we have a good example in our Sampradaya, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We have a good example of a perfect integrator of sadhana and work, family life. And who is that? Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. So we don't have excuses to say, it's too difficult, I can't do it. I will only chant, I will not work. Or I will only work and not chant. Bhakti Vasudeva did all. He had over 10 kids, 10 children. In America, people are afraid of even having more than one child. Some people just don't want to have even any child because of the challenge involved. So we have a good example on this very topic. We just have to see how we are able to imbibe a culture of implementation of some basic strategies to facilitate a positive spiritual change in our lives. But it all boils down to two fundamental things in our tradition. One of them is how we live our lives, how we regulate our lives. If we regulate our lives very functionally, there wouldn't be any problem in terms of disintegration. So we'd like to read a text from the Bhagavad Gita, then we proceed from there. Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, text 17. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta chetasya karmasya, yukta swapna vabho dasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Translation: he who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Please kindly respond to repeat. He who is regulated in his habits of eating,
he who is regulated in his habits of eating,
sleeping,
recreation,
and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Purport. Srila Prabhupada's purport: extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or not any category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyata kalatvam, a Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna, and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakur Haridas will not even accept prasadam, not even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names. 300,000 names. That is how many rounds? 92 rounds. We asked to chant only 16 rounds. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Om Gyana Timiransa, Gyana Janasakaya, Saksu Militan Yen, Tasmai, Si Gurube, Sichetayam Manobistan, Stafitam, Yenabut, Swayam Rupam Kadamaya, Dadatisva, Padatika, Vandiham, Si Rupam, Sagata, Chana. Vandiham, Si Rupam, Vande Si Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodita, Guradaya Pustuganto, Chitu Chandita, Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Si Advaita Gadara, Sivasari Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale, Simati Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvise, Sonyavadi, Vancha Kakutari, So, when we have to say make a presentation for those of us who are coming from a management science background, the first principle is what is the problem you're trying to solve? What is the problem you're addressing? I mean, it's like when I was called to come over, and it was, I think, Maharaja was asking about what is the topic. I said, look, I'm not there. You are on ground. You should know the needs of the community. And so we're discussing. So then that's how we came to this point of sadhana and integration of sadhana with work-life balance. So the idea is, and from my own travels, see, I left the US for Guru Purnima in 2020, and only to end up in India, locked up with the COVID. I stayed in Vrindavan for 1 year, and I went to Mayapur. I got COVID twice. So I ended up staying in India for 3 years, 7 months. And one of those things that then I left India on the 20th of November last year to Bangladesh, from Bangladesh to the UK, London, Manchester. Then I went to Switzerland. And when I was in Switzerland, I was actually planning to go back to India. Then some of my friends in New Jersey heard that I was in Switzerland. They said, hey, come. I said, come on. I don't have ticket to come to America right now. He said, oh, we'll get your ticket. Just come. So that's how I ended up coming. And one of the things I've realized in my travels and encountering people, devotees in our communities, is that complaint of, I don't have the time to chant 16 rounds. Too busy with work, too busy with school. And so this is, and it's not just, one community, each community you go to, there are these complaints. But then it boils down to one simple thing, that we all have the same 24 hours. No one has excess, no one has less. And therefore, if someone is not able to utilize this 24 hours, to maximize the utility of these 24 hours, to be able to balance their work, to do their work effectively, their professional work effectively, or their career development, or their school, to focus on their school, and on their studies, and at the same time to conduct themselves in proper sadhana, then it means that they are abusing time. They are abusing time. And Krishna is time. Krishna said, he is time. Carlos, the destroyer of the worlds. So when we abuse somebody that can beat us up or that can jail us, that's very dangerous. If you mean those we can't beat up or those we can't really do anything to, when we abuse them, they call the police. And, law enforcement agents come to the rescue. But time is all consuming. And so when we abuse time, there are repercussions. Sometimes we get depressed, we have anxieties. And so it is important for us to see how we stop this abuse. And to stop this abuse of time, which is Krishna's energy, and Krishna claimed his time himself. When we stop the abuse, we will be able to have, proper devotion, proper sadhana, efficient work, and focused, loving care for members of our families. One of the major problems that we are confronted with in terms of this integration of sadhana with work-life balance is that we are not able to situate ourselves in self-regulation. This text of the Gita, this is a very big subject matter in the management sciences. Self-regulation. You go to Google Scholar, Google self-regulation. You see there are so many theories on self-regulation. And what people could go to the university to specialize, learn, and develop theories, Krishna has given that in the Bhagavad Gita for gratis, free. So most of the things that we are looking for outside, they are in our literatures. It's just that the deep understanding of the phenomena and the strategies that are profiled, how to implement those very strategies in our life to be able to effect a positive spiritual change, that is what we are lacking. Otherwise, Krishna has given us every damn thing. So if someone is regulating their lives, say he goes or she goes to bed on time. And I find it very simple because these are things that when I was in high school, we were staying in boarding house. You're away from your parents. Age 13, you are away from parents. You have to go to bed. I went to a missionary boarding school, and you have to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Wake up at 4 o'clock to go for reading. You read for 2 hours. Then you go and get ready for morning devotion. After that, you go to class. And your classes will take up till about 2 o'clock. There's a break. After class, you go to the dining hall or refectory to take your lunch. And after lunch, you are forced. You must go and take a siesta, a short sleep. And they will ring a bell for everyone to wake up. After taking that short nap, you have to get up. You go again to the classroom to go and read. There was effective regulation of our 24 hours. Therefore, when I came to devotional service, I thought, these things, come on. I did this. I practiced this type of life when I was, when I was a teenager in high school. And so the self-regulation is something that, if it is not important, Krishna wouldn't waste his time to state it here. And it comes when we are self-regulated, according to Krishna here, and we can have that in our own experience, we will be free from pains, from the pangs of anxiety, stress. Because we'll be living ahead of time. We'll get our things done ahead of expectations. But if we are not self-regulated, then it becomes a problem. We wake up late. We can't chant our 16 rounds during the Brahma Muhurta hours. And therefore the chanting will not be so effective. We have to chant in the night. When we come back from work, when we come back from school, the mind is so distracted at that time. The mode of passion and ignorance have taken control. And so, what Krishna puts in a very simple language here is one of the fundamental strategies for spiritual work-life balance. If you regulate your eating, for instance, if you don't overeat, you will sleep and then get up strong. If you overeat, energy for digestion is required, is sapped, is drawn from the brain. And that's why each time you eat, you feel weak, you want to go and sleep. So if you overeat, you will not be able to get up strong. So like Krishna has mentioned, even the eating has to be regulated. Prabhupada gives a very nice prescription. What did Prabhupada say about eating? Yes, can someone help us? Yeah?
Prasadam.
Yeah, prasadam, but how shall we take the prasadam? To the brim here? Yes, Prabhupada even said that. He said, eat and, He said also that he gave a regulated, what is the regulated system of eating that Prabhupada prescribed?
30% prasadam in the stomach, 30% water, and 30% air.
No, thank you.
25.
Yes, can someone help us? Hey, Gita Pandits, tell us, is there any Gita? One of the purpose, Prabhupada stipulated that. Anyone to help us? Self-regulation in terms of eating. What did Prabhupada say? He said, eat half your stomach, prasadam. Half prasadam, 1/4 water. And the remaining 1/4 air. Is there any Bhagavad Gita? You don't need a rocket science for this. So if we follow that system, we will eat. And I mean, it's like when you eat, you're still feeling hungry. So to say, yeah. Then you take the aqua fortis, the water, the remaining, you're still feeling hungry. But the remaining, you leave it for the air. This is how to regulate it. This is how to regulate ourselves in eating. One of the major distractions in the age of digitalization is the smart system. Smartphones, internet. I know people who failed out from college, who dropped out from college because of internet and smartphones. I know people who lost their jobs because of internet and smartphones. See, I use the internet for my research. I don't go to libraries. My university, the library is online. So I don't go to libraries. But I set a time frame for using the internet. Otherwise, before you know, time has gone. there are advertisements, bumping into you here and there. And if you're not focused, you're carried away. And before you realize, your time, 2 hours have gone. Then you start regretting. If at the end of the day, you have to go to bed and you reflect on your daily activities and you're regretting, that's not a good deal. If that becomes a cumulative ogive, you could run into depression. And so, digital age is very good. We use the system. You can have the whole of Prabhupada's books in your pocket, in your smartphone. It's a very good system. How do you manage it? That is the problem. It's like in management science, we talk about initiating a change. To initiate a change is very good. How you lead that change to a successful conclusion, that is the problem. And that is why over 75% of change initiatives fail. To initiate a change is not a problem. To have the digital system is not a problem. We can't blame technology. Sometimes I hear people say, technology is just killing our children. Technology is not killing our children. Adanta gopi vishatam tamisha. This is what is killing us. Uncontrolled sensory modalities and the mind. This is what is killing us, not technology. And Prabhupada, when he asks, see, you're a spiritualist, why are you using dictaphone? I say, I'm using it for Krishna service. Why not? So, let's get these points clear. Integration is very difficult. To integrate your sadhana and your work and family, it is very difficult. If someone tells you it's not difficult, they are in the mode of joking. Just like in calculus, there is this section of calculus called integration. Even the students of calculus, when it comes to integration, it becomes so abstract that some of the students walk out of the class because it gets too complex, abstract. So, I as a person, I understand that integrating spiritual sadhana, work, or school with family life is rocky. Very rocky. And those who are in it, they know and they can resonate with this very idea. So, yes, it's difficult. But people have done the difficult jobs and they became heroes. Prabhupada said, if you want to hunt, go for a rhino. He didn't say, go for the deer. He said, go for a rhino. Because if you go for the rhino, if you don't shoot it down, people will say, but he's a rhino anyway. How could you have gotten him down? So, we have to understand that our minds are very wavy, and to effectively focus on our sadhana, we need the time that is conducive, and that is Brahma Muhurta hours. So first of all, we need to go to bed on time. Otherwise, we cannot wake up on time to do the chanting before we go out. We can't be up watching TV or watching news until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And we go to bed and we're expecting to wake up to chant our rounds during the Brahma Muhurta hour. It doesn't work like that. This is a simple thing. And I like meeting people who say they don't have the time. I remember some years ago, I was in Michigan. I met this young doctor. He was doing his MD And he got attracted to me, so he was going around with me to different programs. And in the car, he asked, Maharaja, can I ask a question? I said, come on, you're my friend, feel free, ask any question you want. He said, we, medical doctors, we don't have the time to chant 16 rounds. I said, good for you. I asked him, you think you're the first medical doctor in this movement? I said, the home where I stay in Washington, the man is a doctor. His wife is a nurse. They have two boys. They drive the boys to school. They have big deities. They do Mungarati every day. They chant 16 rounds. You are just focusing on your study. You say you don't have the time to chant 16 rounds. All right, let's analyze your 24 hours. So we went to analysis. I asked him how many hours you use for your studies. Specializing, MD. He's finished his MBBS, he's doing his MD. How many hours you use for studies every day? He told, we wrote it down. How many hours for sleep? He told, we wrote it down. We analyzed all of his activities in the day. And then at the end we found as a chunk of time that he couldn't account for. And then he was almost like shedding tears. He said, Maharaj, I'm sorry, I didn't use my time properly. So we have this problem. We can be on the phone talking things that don't relate to our sadhana, things that don't relate to Krishna, things that don't relate to our studies, things that don't relate to our professional development. We can do that for hours. We are abusing time. Abuse comes with some consequences. If you abuse your spouse, they will call the police for you. You abuse your child, they will call the police for you. If you abuse anyone, they will call the police for you. That is the beauty of America. But time, no one calls the police for us. So we have to see how we are appreciating the fact that this integration is tough, difficult. Some people will have done it. Bhakti Thakur is a perfect example in our own life. So we should think of how we can minimize. I remember when I met devotees and then started chanting. So I would chant 16 rounds before I go. I was living by myself as a young adult. At that time, the energies are so hyper that you could just, focus on enjoying your life. But when I met the devotees, I started chanting, and then I started with 16 rounds. I go to work in the morning, I leave my house, 8 o'clock. We close from office, 4 o'clock. So by the time I come back to my apartment, it will be like 4:45. And then I'll prepare something to eat, I lock up myself in my house again, and then I chant another 16 rounds and go to sleep. My friends, they were so angry with me. They say, coming out for night outs again. What? I don't live my life for anybody. So if you want to progress on the path of of integrating your work with your spiritual life and having a focus, giving care, loving care to your family, you have to cut down some of those things that are not necessarily facilitating your spiritual growth. That's the whole thing. And you see, some of us have been in the movement for 20 years, 30 years, and we say we don't have time to chant Hare Krishna. What is that? One lady taught her husband a lesson. This guy got married to this lady, and that was in America here. The boy is my friend. He told me the whole story. How the time he got married, he was chanting 8 rounds. And so, he got married to this lady. The lady, she's not a Vaishnavi. So she was addicted to watching, movies until late into the night or reading newspapers. So the man kept preaching to her, you have to chant, you have to chant. So she started chanting. She started with 16 rounds. At the time she was chanting 16 rounds, the husband was still chanting 8 rounds. So one day, he said, the wife sat him down and said, "Hey, Prabhu, Krishna is real. You are the one who preached to me to chant." She said, "Krishna gave you 24 hours. This is the wife talking to the husband. And Indian women are very reserved. And for her to have that guts to talk to the husband, to speak to the husband like that, Krishna was using her. Prabhupada was using her to instruct the husband. So she told the husband, Krishna gave you 24 hours. And now he's asking for just 2 hours from you. And you are saying you would think about it? What type of a man are you? He said, when the wife told him this, right from that day, he started chanting 16 rounds. So sometimes we need someone in our lives to tell us, hey, why are you being so lackadaisical about your devotional life? So these basic strategies could help us in integration, which is very difficult. Self-regulation, effective time management. Self-regulation and effective time management. Of course, you must create boundaries if you want to properly integrate your spiritual life and work, family. You have to create boundaries. Boundaries means you don't just open your doors and anybody can just call you at any time and talk with you on the phone for, 2 hours. If someone calls you at a time that is inappropriate, you tell them, "Oh, can I call you back?" The simple stuff. See, I never knew anything about time management until when I was doing my PhD. We had a course that was focused on time management for a full semester. Because without effective time management, forget about your PhD. You can't finish it. You cannot go through it. So we are taught, graphically how to manage the 24 hours to be able to excel. So I felt this deficiency in the secular world and it also in our devotional service. That Krishna, he said, he is time, the destroyer of the worlds. And so we have to see how we are aligning with Krishna's model of self-regulation. And that solves practically 90% of the problem having to do with integrating sadhana with work and family. Any comments or questions? Are there comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
This is a comment.
Okay.
Srila Prabhupada once said for grahastas, a way to make sure you chant your 16 rounds is 4 rounds when you wake up, 4 rounds before you eat your breakfast, 4 rounds before lunch, and 4 rounds before dinner, because everyone has to eat.
A good strategy.
So if you do your rounds before you eat, then you'll get your japa done.
So we should follow at least fundamental principle. The thing is to be able to ensure that we don't neglect the vow we have taken to do a particular number of rounds in a day. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you. You're Palaka, right? Okay. Still remember your name. Any other comments or questions? It's already past 2.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. A PhD and you have a PhD and you're also preaching Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, but it's a challenge because in India, someone, even in Delaware, a professor challenged me. Why you have to be a Swami? You should help the world to teach. I said, I'm teaching and at the same time helping the world spiritually too. In India, one professor, I went to one university to make a presentation, and then he was so upset with me. He said, see, you are a top-notch scholar. Why you have to be just a Swami? What are you doing with being a Swami? So I asked him, are you happy with your life? Yeah, because I know the professors. I know some of my friends, professors who have 3 PhDs, they're not happy. So when I asked him, are you happy with your life? He knew what I was talking about. So he backed out. Yeah, because we understand there's nothing out there. See, I have the degrees, and I go to places and people meet me, and all these professors, they meet me, and they just like, they feel very bad with their lives. So I have to pat them, pamper them and tell them they can start from somewhere. See, the beauty of having high skills in preaching is that I can go to most places that the traditional gurus may not be able to go. Yeah, so it makes it easy, and and Prabhupada wanted this. I remember Hridayananda Maharaj, he wanted to stop, he met Prabhupada when he was at Berkeley, and he wanted to stop his college program, and Prabhupada said, no, you have to go ahead and finish. We need your skills in the future. Yeah, so Prabhupada wanted some of his followers, that's why he set up the Bhaktivedanta Institute. Prabhupada was very expert in talent management. When this scientist joined, and he went to, what is his name? And he went to Atlanta. So Prabhupada went to Atlanta. Prabhupada went, he joined, he was serving at Atlanta. And so Prabhupada went to Atlanta, he asked the president, so this scientist, is he here? The president said, yes. Prabhupada asked him, what is his engagement? He said, we are engaging him to wash dishes. Yeah. He told Prabhupada, we're engaging the scientists to wash dishes. So Prabhupada said, all that you know is to engage people to wash dishes. This is a scientist. Send him to Bhakti Vasudeva Swami at the Bhaktivedanta Institute. So Prabhupada, you see, he had the expertise in amazing ways. Talent management is such an important thing, important phenomenon, important a project in sustainable organizational development. The Prabhupada had those skills. He came with those skills from the spiritual world. He didn't go to management school. You need to have a PhD in talent management. You have to do a thesis, a dissertation on talent management. Before you acquire all those skills, your research has to be focused on that in that area. So here Prabhupada is showing by his personal example the value, the importance of talent management. Managing people, use dovetail it. He says, dovetail your services, your skills, your resources in the service of Krishna. It's at the words of Prabhupada, dovetailment. That's called talent management. Okay, so in the absence of any other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting.
So we want to thank Bhakti Vasudeva Maharaj for his wonderful lecture on integrating the various responsibilities in our life with time management and self-regulation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Maharaj, if you can stay just a few minutes, is there any other questions that you want to ask personally, Maharaj?
Yeah, I'll be around for a couple of minutes before I leave.
Was that devotee Sadhana?
Yeah, Sadhana.
I didn't want to blast it out, but I kind of...
I'll do that.